Screaming, I love my life and I grind hard. It's no mystery. Cause every moment of a life can make history. Every moment of a life can write history. Every moment of a life can write history. This is where we go.
What's up, good people? Listen, I had to start with that. That's a little anthem that gets me pumped up. It's called History. Ryan Leslie. Shout out to the boy Ryan Leslie. If you don't know his story, he's independent, doing his thing, extremely gifted when it comes to the music. And one of the things that he did was he just changed his entire life and situation. He was on a label, he was doing his thing, and he said, you know what, I'm not getting the impact that I want to have. I'm not where I want to be. So he just said, you know what? I'm just going to do it myself. I'm going to start my own thing. I'm going to go completely independent, back myself, believe in myself. And now he's out there doing his thing. So shout out to the boy, Ryan Leslie. I don't know him personally, wish I did, but the whole Black Renegade movement that he has going on, I love it. I love the independence about it. So why are we here tonight? Listen, I know I might look rough, but I had to share this with y'all. I had to get this off my chest. I was just coming from the gym, and I was thinking to myself while I was at the gym, what does it take to change, right? What are the key elements to change? So many of us, we want to make that progression. We want to make that next move. We want to make that change, but how? What do we need, right? Like, if you think about it, there's so many things in life that we do that we have the ingredients. If I want to bake a cake, I can go home right now. I can grab some eggs. I can grab some flour. I can grab some butter. I know all the ingredients that I need to make a cake. But how do I make change, right? What are those key elements that I need to make the change in my life that I want to make the change? So I wanted to share just my thoughts on 3 key ingredients. Now, these aren't all you need, but these are 3 key ingredients that you need to make the change. My boy Darius said consistency. Shout out to consistency. I like that one. That's actually number 2. That is great. So we're going to talk about it. I'm going to tell you the 3 things that I wrote down here. Just some quick notes I jotted down literally with a pencil I had in my center console that I wanted to share with you. The first one is deliberate. Be deliberate. And I'm going to talk to you about that a little bit more. The second one is persistence. Goes right along with the consistency thing. And the last one, the most important ingredient to me, is be convinced. You've got to be convinced. So let's talk about the first one, be deliberate, right? So I told you guys I was just coming from the gym and I thought about it. I'm like, man, I'm in the gym like 4 to 5 times a week because I have a goal. Physically, mentally, I have a goal. So I'm deliberately, every day that I get ready to go to the gym, I'm deliberately grabbing my workout clothes, grabbing my workout bag, and deliberately getting myself in the car and going to the gym and deliberately pushing my body so that my muscles, my body can get into a shape that I wanted to get into, right? So why don't we treat our life that way? Think about that for a minute. If we want to change, folks, we have to do and be deliberate. Deliberately simply means this. Deliberately simply means something that's done intentionally. So if I want to get smarter, I have to be deliberate about my education. If I want to progress in my job, I have to be deliberate about doing the things that are going to get me noticed to make that progression. If I want to change my economic situation, I have to be deliberate about my finances. I have to be deliberate about what I save and what I put away, what selfish things I put aside to make to my goal and my progression. So if I want to change, I first have to be deliberate. I have to do things intentionally to get the results that I want to obtain and receive. So the first element and the first ingredient to change, ladies and gentlemen, is to be deliberate. So sit back, ask yourself, what did I do today deliberately towards my success, towards my change? Whatever your change might be, if your change is to lose weight, what did I deliberately do today to maintain that goal? If your goal is to make more money, what did I deliberately do today to maintain that goal? If your goal is to advance, whether it be in your personal education or education of your job or your career, whatever the case might be, what did you deliberately do today to get there? So the second element, as we talked about, is persistence. So let's talk about persistence, right? It's a simple definition. Persistence is simply continuing in the course of an action in spite of difficulty and opposition. I'm gonna give that to y'all again because I read it myself and I was like, whoa, wait a minute. So continuing in a course of action in spite of any difficulty or opposition. Wow. So I have to be persistent. So what that means is it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy. I'm going to give y'all back, and going back to, like I said, the first thing I did was I deliberately went to the gym. The second thing I did is I said, you know what? Last week, I put this amount of weight on the rack, but this week, I'm going to go a little bit higher. I'm going to stretch myself, and I'm going to go higher. And you know what happened? I couldn't get all 10 reps. I got about 8 reps, but you know what? I kept going. I was like, you know what? I'm going to just keep trying. That last rep that I got to when I was there, I was like, I'm just going to keep pushing, because if I don't push and I don't try, I'll never know if I'm going to advance and get to where I want to go. So we have to treat our lives the same way. We have to persist. That means, guess what? We are going to get knocked down. We are going to fall. We are going to stumble. We are going to have doors that get closed. We are going to have opportunities that we miss out on or that pass us by. We are going to have all these things that give us opposition. One of my favorite quotes in life, and I use it often, is guess what? Every day I could give you a bucket of cement, and you could do one of two things. You can make a stumbling block, or you can make a stepping stone. So think about that for a minute. Be persistent. The first key, be deliberate. Do something intentionally to get where you want to go. The second key is be persistent. That means in your pursuit of your deliberate act, don't let things discourage you, knock you down, step you back, hold you back. No matter what comes in your way, it's either going to be a stepping stone or a stumbling block. Make sure it's a stepping stone. And the last key, listen, this is just a short, quick in and out. I just wanted to share something with you that was on my head. This is the last one. The last key. This is it. Be convinced. Woo, I'm sorry I'm yelling at y'all. Listen, let me tell you something. Y'all see this shirt I'm wearing, right? People see this shirt and they're like, oh man, this guy's always repping something with Superman on it. Let me tell you why, right? Superman's whole thing was truth, justice, and the American way. But here was the thing about it. Superman knew who he was and what his powers were. So think about that. He was convinced. No one had to come to him when he was Clark Kent and tell him he was Superman in disguise. He knew who he was. No one had to come to him when there was a time of trouble or trial or something was going on or somebody needed to be saved or helped and say, hey, you're Superman. Go save them. He was already on the case. How many times did you ever watch the episode and people looked up and Clark was gone? Because he knew who he was and what he represented. And you are the same way. You don't have to have a cape. You don't have to have a symbol. You don't have to be a superhero, but you have to be convinced that you are great. You have to be convinced that you can accomplish anything that you say, I want. Anything that you say I can do. Anything that you say, you know what? I'm on it. You have to be convinced. That means when people tell you you can't, tell them that you can. Show them that you can. Believe that you can no matter what people tell you. How many stories have you heard and that you've been motivated by and listened to and got teary-eyed over someone else's story of accomplishment, of overcoming their circumstance? Why do you think you can't do it? Why do you think that you are any less great than that person you've seen last time on Oprah or Ayanna show or Dr. Phil or whatever show you watch that you look at somebody else's, say, man, they did it. They made it. You can do the same thing. But you guess what? You have to be convinced. So if you're not where you want to be, if you're not making the progression that you want to make, if something is holding you back, it's because you don't believe you. That's it. It takes 3 things. Well, it takes more than 3 things, but those are the things that I just think are the key ingredients, right? So the first one is be deliberate. Do something intentionally today. The second one is be persistent. That means, guess what? It's not going to take a day. It's not going to take watching this video. It's not going to take a week. It's not going to take a year. It's going to take a lifetime. Think about it this way. If you are over the age of 30, you've been an adult since you were 18. That means you've had over a decade of habits, conditions, behaviors that have shaped and formed who you are, whether you did it consciously or unconsciously. So that means if you want to change those things, it is going to take more than 1 year, 1 day, 1 week, or 1 minute. It is going to take a lifetime of persistence. And the last thing, ladies and gentlemen, is be convinced. Be convinced. It's all on you, whether you believe it or you don't. It's all on you. So be convinced and believe in yourself, because guess what? You were destined for greatness. You were made with a purpose and you are here to manifest that glory. So shine bright. And at the end of the day, we're going to take it back out with Ryan Leslie because we grind hard. Let's go. Thank you for joining me. I'll be back Wednesday. Make sure you follow us. Make sure you share, spread the word. It's about change, ladies and gentlemen. It's about progression. So let's get it. Have a great night. I'll see you soon.
We hotter than ever, we on that Crisco. You see your boy hopping about that Enzo.